Robust, rigid, fragile. A new symbol of Barcelona is emerging. Inspired in earth, nature, and the heritage that is nearest to us. More than just a building, it is an object that emerges from the earth and tries to touch the sky. A tower that alters the city skyline, the Layetana Agbar Tower. This very original building has become a reality thanks to its promoter, the Grupo Immobiliari Layetana. Committed to creativity and design, Layetana strives to develop projects that combine functionality and beauty, making the needs of every client a priority. The design of the tower was carried out by a team. The atelier Jean Nouvel, whose headquarters are in Paris, and the B720 studio in Barcelona, headed by the architect Fermín Vázquez. The tower gets its name from Grupo Agbar, which will locate its headquarters here. This multinational company, with its central office in Barcelona and more than 130 years of history, is made up of a group of more than 160 companies, which reached a sales volume of 2,799 million euros in 2003. Cerdà thought of Plaza de las Glorias as the center of Barcelona, since the three most important thoroughfares of the city converged there: the Gran Via, the Diagonal, and the Meridiana. This is the exact spot where the Agbar Tower is located. Because of its cylindrical shape, the tower reinforces the idea of centrality. Having no main facade, it looks out over the whole city in an equalitarian manner. It is an equalitarian building, but not uniform. Rather, it is dynamic and full of life, thanks to its oval ground plan and its differentiated treatment of colors and openings. It is therefore a unique tower located in a key spot at the edge of an area under development, both economically and in relation to urban planning, where other major architects are leaving their imprint, the district of new technologies and the new economy. The Agbar Tower is not an ordinary building. It is a great architectural and engineering project. Its structure is innovative for its distinctive shape and because its facade is also a structural element. The uniqueness of the tower has also affected its construction, which has been a process of change. It is a work of engineering where every construction solution has been sought expressly for this project and has taken into account the distinguishing features of the Barcelona soil and mindful of bioclimatic criteria. The process began with the demolition of the warehouses that occupied the plot of land. 2 months later, the excavation for the foundation began. The foundation is a prolongation of the tower, going 45 meters down under street level on the Diagonal, a depth that is equivalent to 9 stories under the slab of concrete of the lowest basement floor. In order to work on the clay soil in the area, all the water had to be pumped out, and the groundwater level, which begins at the depth of just 8 meters from the street, had to be lowered. At least 30 shafts were used to constantly pump out water for almost a year. Below the ground floor, there are 3 floors for parking and 1 for services. The main underground space will be for a large auditorium that will stretch out under the square, modifying it by creating a small hill. From its lobby, the spectacular base of the tower can be seen. A large black slate crater, whose bottom is filled with water, underscores the idea of an object emerging from the earth. The figures for the Agbar Tower are of great magnitude. It is 144 meters in height, distributed in 32 stories for offices and 3 stories for technical services. It is structured in 2 oval-shaped cylinders and crowned by a steel and glass dome. The tower has no interior pillars. It is a skyscraper built by means of load-bearing walls, and the facade and the core are self-supporting. Beams hold up the floors between the 2 cylindrical bodies. The tower rose floor by floor with a system of self-climbing casing. It progressed in 3 phases. First, the inner ring went up, then the outer, and lastly the walls for the lifts. In order to maintain the verticality of the building, topographical measurements were taken from the core, which were used to adjust the casing on each floor to the centimeter. Up to 100 measurements of the surrounding buildings were needed. These were used as reference points in order to achieve the utmost precision. With this system, 1 story rose every 5 days. From the 18th story upward, where the tower begins to slope, 7 days were needed for each story to rise. Because of the great height, the tower will have 6 lifts to the 24th story inside the facade. 2 more lifts and a service lift will go up through the core, reaching the last story under the dome. On each story, there are, on average, 100 openings that are distributed in a completely random way. These windows are distributed in accordance with their exposure to the sun. In other words, the southern facade is less perforated than the northern, where there are many more windows. Nouvel, a great admirer of Gaudí, designed the windows overlooking the Sagrada Familia without transoms, so as to have a better view of the church. The openings are also more regular in the lift area, so that the view of the city is less unbroken. The diagonal arrangement of the windows made it necessary to convey load stresses through one point only, which meant that special small crosspieces had to be created. The construction of the outer ring stopped at the 26th story. Then the last 5 slabs of flooring were made. They are cantilever erections which are supported by the central ring. In order to construct them, the technique called post-tension was used, which consists of cables inside the concrete that are pulled taut once they have rested a few days after being set in concrete. The Agbar Tower has a light aspect. Covering the last 6 stories, there is a large steel and glass dome reaching more than 30 meters in height. Its assembly was complex and was carried out in 2 stages. First, the 26 pieces of the 22 initial meters of height were put in place. And then, after having carried out pre-assembly work at ground level, the upper cap was put in place. The multicolor facade has 3 skins. Over the first one of concrete, the second one is added, which is made up of sheets of wavy curved aluminum of different colors. The result is a chromatic gradation that starts at the bottom with earth tones and continues upwards in different shades of blue. On reaching the dome, the function that is fulfilled by the aluminum sheets is continued by the glass on the dome. The silk-screened glass in shades of blue maintains the same gradation as the lower floors. There are no colors on the top of the dome. It is transparent. In this way, the effect is that the building becomes more ethereal as it climbs into the sky until it can be mistaken for the sky itself. The outer skin is made up of translucent panes of glass that blur the color of the sheets of aluminum that form the inner skin. Depending on the time of day and the weather, this will give the feeling that the building is changing color. These fixed panes are slanted in different directions. On the dome, the panes are silk screened to throw shadows in order to filter the light and to avoid glare. This doubled skin also provides good thermal insulation. To make cleaning and maintaining the outside easy, a walkway between each floor has been built. Elements like this are a good example of how the Agbar Tower is a deliberately low-tech building. Seeking out rational operational and maintenance solutions has served as our guideline during the whole process of design and building.